Good afternoon, everyone. It's Kirsten here for a Thursday Spa Business Break where I am talking about how to manage and run your spa business to make it much easier for you and still earn profits. So today's topic is again about, this whole month has been about customer service systems in your spa business. And today in particular, I want to talk about how to get ready, how to get prepped for a really busy summer season. So for a lot of you, this is kind of maybe the storm's already started, but usually it's kind of the calm before the storm. You're starting to see more bookings happening in your schedule, and you know that this is the busiest time of year for you. So what today is about is making sure that you are well organized and that you're thinking ahead about the systems in your business before you get into the weeds and feel totally overwhelmed, like you just don't have enough time to even put out any fires. So that's what today is about, getting prepped to make sure you don't have to run around and put out fires when you and your team are really busy this summer. Okay, so I have three different points I want to make about spa systems, particularly to improve customer service. So the first one is a facility management system. Maybe you do this, maybe you don't. Maybe you have a system already but didn't even know it was a system. Your facility management system is about what does the facility, like the physical facility, need on a consistent basis to be maintained. So what this means for you prepping for summer is making sure that you have a system for a facility walkthrough where you or your manager or a team lead is going through with a hopefully a checklist of things that they're looking at to make sure that everything looks great for the next few months. So things like baseboards, do they need, maybe they need cleaning, they've been overlooked, maybe they need a paint touch-up, maybe there's some walls that need paint touch-ups. And a lot of times the reason why I want to point out like a facility walkthrough is because we just get used to not seeing things because we're there all the time. So we definitely want to have a system for a facility walkthrough to ensure that everything's tickety-boo. So you want to start literally out by the parking lot, walk through as if you were a guest and seeing it for the first time. What are you noticing? Maybe you have a planter at the front that's looking a little raggedy and that you've been meaning to get to replanting it but just haven't gotten around. But now you know that the next few months from June until September are going to be smoking busy. You're not going to have time. So do this now. Get your planters set up, outsource it if you need to, but just, those little details. So maybe the planters need some work on them. Maybe baseboards need touching up. Maybe walls need touching up. Looking at equipment. Is there anything that's broken or wobbly or not working well consistently? Last thing you want is to hear from your service provider that the steamer is broken and it's been like spitting and nobody has said anything to you. So make sure you're going through your facility for the physical space and cleanliness and touch-ups that need doing, any organization. We know what it's like because we're there all the time. Maybe the front desk is looking a little bit like a shit show up the front. There's too much clutter. Maybe you've been a little lax about, reception, keeping snacks or drinks or food or something like that up there. So, but take a look at it from a client's perspective. Would you look at that and think, yeah, that's kind of not cool? If that's what you're picking up, then make sure you make a plan to change that before the summer kicks in. All right, the next system that I want you to review before it gets busy is some of your operational systems, particularly your policies and your systems for booking and moving appointments, changing appointments, people coming, phoning and canceling last minute, no showing, coming in too late for the service to be completed. You want to make sure that you have your policies dialed in, written down, not only just for your team, but also that they are being communicated to clients. So whether that is a verbal communication that happens every single time of booking, especially for newer clients, whether that means that you've got your cancellation policies on your booking platform and that they have to have a tick box to say that they have agreed to your terms of service. But you want to have your policies and the procedures around your policies for what you want your staff to do and the scripts. You want that all set up now so that you're not dealing with cranky clients because they weren't told about the policy, or you know how this goes. So doing as much as you can to get yourself and the team organized for before all of that starts is a very, very wise decision. The other piece I wanted to bring up about, your policies, booking policies and that kind of cancellation policies is with scripts, you want to have those in your operations manual, but I really highly suggest that you have them all on a cheat sheet that's laminated and kept up front for reception to have as quick reference as well. Okay, so that's going to help them if a situation comes up with a client, and if it's a newer receptionist that doesn't, kind of the policy and the procedure of how the spa deals with maybe lates or no-shows, it doesn't quite roll off her tongue. You want to make sure that you have that support for your team, that they can quickly grab a cheat sheet and read it off of there. Okay, the other piece about operations that you want to take a quick look and review at is, do any of your staff need a little bit of touch up on training before the gong show comes as far as clients? Because if you're already feeling like, oh, so-and-so just needs a little bit of brushing up, but I don't have time right now, prioritize it now. Get them in for a little brush up training now before you're kind of dealing with clients that weren't very happy with the guest experience. The last piece of operations that I would like to suggest that you look at right now, if you haven't already, and if you have a team, is your vacation policy. So you want to make sure that everybody's vacation requests are in before. I usually always had them in at May 1st because most people knew what their summer vacation was going to be, most of my staff. And I needed to make sure that I could staff my facility with people to serve our clients, to serve the business. The business came first. So my policy was that any vacation requests had to be submitted by May 1st. In writing, I had specific pieces in there as far as who got first dibs. And then there's also pieces in there as far as if something came up after the deadline, how I wanted my staff to be dealing with it. So I'm not just getting hey, I'm leaving for vacation for a week and just thought I'd let you know. There needs to be a process for this, because you might have had this situation, but it really, really sucks when you're in the middle of a crazy season and somebody just kind of drops on you to figure out how to figure out their shifts. So get your team organized as far as what they want for a vacation. Just because they request it doesn't mean that you can say yes. Maybe you say yes, but it needs to be a different week. The bottom line is you just don't want to be dealing with this as it pops up. You want to try to mitigate as much as possible. And having this vacation request system as part of your operations will definitely help ease your stress if that comes up. Because once you've created and you've mapped out everybody's vacation time, after that, it's up to them to find somebody to cover their shift. It shouldn't be dumped in your lap and your problem. Okay, the last piece that I want to talk about for systems to help you prepare for a really busy summer is it's about booking. Now, sometimes for those of you that are solos, you do this to yourself all the time. It's busy, clients want in, maybe they're calling last minute and they're like, oh, I really need to get in. They give you a sob story, they're leaving for vacation, they need their toes done and their underarms waxed. And you feel this pressure to just kind of squeeze them in. Oh, we do this all the time. We do this before the summer, and we do this at our busy time at Christmas. We say yes and then when we get to the day of it, we're like, oh, why did I do that? I'm too busy. I'm burnt out already, and I wish I hadn't have said yes. So I'm just giving you the reminder now, especially for you solos, don't squeeze people in. You know you're going to be busy at that time of year. You know you barely get a lunch and a pee break. So do yourself a favor and tuck this thought into your head. Their lack of planning does not constitute an emergency on your part. And this is really about boundaries. You need to be careful about your own boundaries because you have only so much energy to give. You only have so much time in the day. And you don't want to be saying yes to other people. Yes, it's more money, but if you're already fully booked, then you're already fully booked. So you want to be able to say yes to yourself, to your sanity, to your energy levels, so that you've got some longevity. If you're constantly squeezing people in, you burn yourself out. You know this. Now, for those of you that have a team, sometimes your clients can be really pushy, and they can be kind of aggressive towards your receptionists if they're booking appointments. You know, I've seen it where they'll have like, well, can you just leave her a message and get her to call me back? I want you to be really clear about what your boundaries are and what your team's boundaries are, so that if clients tend to try to push reception, to squeeze people in, that there is a script for that. And again, with those scripts, it can just roll off their tongue, and it's polite, it's professional, but it maintains the boundaries. So the other last little bit about scheduling and booking systems is to make sure that your team has their lunches booked in, so that they're not, so that they're not getting kind of too many clients squeezed in and missing lunches, because you know what it's like. You're working really hard all day, you need at least a little bit of a break. And we all know if it's booked for 30 minutes for a lunch break, we're really only getting to actually sit down and eat for 15 by the time we have to clean up and set up. So maybe you want to even consider adding some buffer time to those services to give your service providers time to clean up and set up, so that's not knocking into their lunch. And the less time they have to sit and just have some quiet time and regroup, it's harder for them to kind of keep up, right? So this is all about ensuring that the guest experience is phenomenal, but that means that we have to have systems in place and boundaries in place for how we run our business, so that the guest experience doesn't get blown out of the water just because it's a super busy time. That should absolutely not be an issue. The problem is that when it's busy, we feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much opportunity. We'd hate to lose all this money coming in. But the bottom line is you only have so much time in the day, no matter how many service providers you have, and you want to protect the business because, and you want to protect the team members and their energy, because they are what gives the guest experience. And if they're burnt out and tired and stressed and then cranky, it just makes the guest experience harder to maintain. So now's the time to go through all of these aspects of, the systems in your business, and just picking out little pieces that need improvement that can get done before the busy season comes, so that you can just work and just flow through. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, if you have any tips about what you do to prep for your busy summer season, pop them in the comments. We're always looking to see what other people, what other spa owners are doing, what kind of strategies they've come up with, because most often we're coming up with strategies because something wasn't working for us. So if you have something creative that you've come up with, let's hear it. We would love to share that. Okay, that's it for me for Thursday Spa Business Break. I will be back here next Thursday at 12 noon Pacific. We'll see you then.